Good afternoon, UH staff community. I'd like to welcome you to the Spring 2022 Staff Council Staff Focus event, Moving Forward Together, Stronger Than Ever. I'm Shawn Lindsey, Associate Vice President for Media Relations, and I will serve as your moderator for today's events. Today, you'll be hearing from our inspirational and visionary leader, President Renu Khator. Also joining us today are special guests, Raymond Bartlett, Senior Vice Chancellor and Vice President of Administration and Finance, and Gaston Reinoso, Associate Vice Chancellor and Vice President of Human Resources. Our UH community continues to move forward, more resilient and stronger than ever. Today's event is to show appreciation for the tenacity displayed by our staff during the pandemic and beyond, to share the President's vision for moving forward, and to answer your questions on a variety of topics. Renu Khator is in her second decade as president of the University of Houston. Under her presidential leadership, the University of Houston has experienced record-breaking enrollment, achieved Tier 1 status, been awarded a Phi Beta Kappa chapter, established a College of Medicine, and improved graduation rates by 10 points in 10 years, all while growing the university's athletic division, which, as many of us know, just finished its most successful football season in program history, at least one of the most successful seasons. And of course, we can't forget the recent Final Four basketball performance and the Big 12 invitation. Always seeking more for students, Renu Khator is currently steering UH to become a top 50 university. It is my pleasure to welcome our president, Renu Khator. Welcome, President Khator.
Thank you, Shawn. I don't know, you were so elegant. I don't know if I'm going to be able to add anything after this, but no, thank you and Happy New Year, everyone. So nice to join you, even though virtually I wish we could be together, but you know, that's not the situation right now. We all are figuring out this Omicron and when is the end of the tunnel with this global pandemic. But we'll do the best we can. So yes, let me start out by thanking you. Obviously, none of these things are possible without a full community. And most definitely, no one person can do anything. I get credit sometimes, but then you know what? I get blame also for things that I haven't done. So I kind of take both, you know, with equal grace, I would say. But please do know that I'm very appreciative of you. I'm also a staff member. You know, when I became president, they kicked me out from my faculty role. So I am a staff, so I understand. I empathize with you all in so many different ways. So let's see what we can talk about today. And I have gone through your questions that you all have submitted, and I know there are a lot of things on your mind, and including, for instance, the payroll, the flex policy, the talent retention, the staff development, all excellent issues and very timely issues that they should be on your mind. And we'll get to all of them. But I think it's good if I can just build the context in the sense of where we are headed and what are some of the things on the horizon and for us as the University of Houston. So a lot of things Shawn mentioned in terms of the success. It's just easy to identify with athletic success. But if I look across, I think all divisions have done really spectacular things. I mean, we raised $1 billion campaign. We have had, you know, great student success rates. You know, we have really built a very resilient community in almost every department. And so academics have done as well as student affairs, I mean, I can just go down the road, but we are all in it together. And what you all have done for last 2 years in dealing with this global pandemic is just absolutely fantastic. I can tell you that we had to shift very quickly. We had to put a lot of trust in your hands, and you have done that. So I'm grateful. Having said that, let's talk about where university is going. So you probably heard that university's next goal, the strategic goal, is to become a top 50 public research university in the country, actually to be top 50 public university in the nation, research or no research, doesn't matter. Where we are right now, 87th, 88th, somewhere there. But we have been coming there, progressing there from 127th. So that means we have come a long way while universities barely move, even 10 spots. So we have come a long way. Now the thing is, how is it that we move forward? So the goal we have is audacious. It's not easy, but then that's what we thrive on, making big goals. We are not an institution where we feel entitled or we feel that we have achieved everything. We can sit on our laurels. We actually hustle, we take challenges, we do the right thing to serve our students, to serve our community, to serve our state, and we move forward. So how are we going to get to top 50 and what's in it for us, really? So in order for us to be top 50, we have to excel and do better in 2 areas. I'm just going to give you a very high-level overview. Basically, these 2 areas are number 1, student success, and number 2, national reputation. So this is according to US News and World Report. You might say, well, it's not really a good measure, and I know that, but this is the measure everybody looks at. So let's just play the game for which the board has been placed in front of us. And then as what things we don't like, we keep on trying to change the rules. So looking at a student success, basically our graduation rate, which is used to be less than where it should be for institutions of our kind who enroll students that look like our institution. But now we are at par, maybe a percentage point higher, but that's not good enough for us to be in top 50. We need to get at least, 7, 8, or even 10 points higher than the average of institutions like us. So that means we got to get our graduation rate to at least 70%. And as I have said it in the past, I'll tell you now that the lot of it happens in the classrooms. That's okay. But without student support, without the support from the entire community, you cannot get students to the finish line, whether it's keeping the grounds well, whether it's advising, whether it is the meals and the parking, or whether it's instruction in the classroom, IT, every single sector, every single one of us here are somehow, some way connected to those students and their success who actually are graduating during the graduation time. So you can take pride in that, and you can find a link if you just look enough, if you don't think that what you are doing is connected. It is connected. So we have to continue to really work hard to make sure we can get our students to graduate at that rate. But it's not just graduation rate, it's also what is it that students earn once they graduate? What's their average income? And what will it be in 5 years? And what is it in 10 years? Those who have graduated in 10 years. So all of those things then depend on what kind of skill sets we have given to students, how competitive they are in the market set, how fast they can move up their ladder. So it's not just graduating, it's also they're owning their success once they have graduated, which means keep connecting with the alumni. So that is somewhere we have to do a good job. We have alumni that are, that bleed Cougar red, but there are many alumni that's not quite as well connected. And every single one of you have a role to play in that. When alumni are asked, they always say, they name a person, whether it's a faculty, and a whole lot of time it's a staff member who they say changed the course of my life, my academic life, or somebody who really impacted and made it sure that I'm successful. So please know that whenever you're interacting with the students, no matter what your role is, you just don't know what impact you're making. Actually, they care about that interaction and you have an impact. Second thing is national reputation. How do we do that? That comes from 2 ways. One is athletic success. And I know we have been working hard in making sure we can have a winning program. And I think you can see it this year. This year has been a phenomenal year, 21. So if anybody is joined here from athletics, a lot of kudos to you. Because at the end of the day, we can support, but you're the one who have to go out there and perform. but we have had a great season football, 17th ranked in postseason, 11th ranked right now in basketball, and of course now we'll be joining Big 12. So all of this just raises the profile of the institution. It brings attention. It doesn't do more for the academic side, but it most definitely brings a lot of attention to the institution. And then people say, well, let's take a look at it. Students say, well, let's see if I want to go there. This seems like an exciting place. And the faculty feel, well, here is the place that I would like to go, and let me see what else is going on there if they're doing so well. I mean, it's just a natural tendency, so it helps. But secondly, what helps national reputation is really the research, the very cutting edge research that's impactful, that's meaningful, is similar things like developing a vaccine that can be given through your nostrils, the nasal spray, or it can be immediate COVID tests, rapid tests that our faculty have developed, or it is the air filtration system that our faculty have developed. We have so many examples of people doing things that improves our life day in and day out. And they cannot do their work if we are not, all of us are not supporting, whether it's maintaining facilities, whether it's maintaining labs, whether it's processing the paperwork. It doesn't matter in what role we are helping lift this university. So if we can make progress in some of these areas, we can get there. But we know that just talking won't get us there. We need to have a strategic plan. So therefore, we have a strategic plan. Now you might ask, well, how is that a strategic plan going? Well, right now, there are 5 implementation committees that are hard at work, come out with all of those detailed strategies that will make sure that we don't get distracted, that we keep at it. But what is most important in all of this is we know our path, we know our destination, but we meaning university, cannot do it alone either. We need help in terms of resources. If we are only funded based on the student enrollment, then investment in research facilities becomes extremely difficult. And that is why we have been promoting with our donors, with our alumni, but most importantly with our legislature, that we need funding. I mean, there is no secret about it that UT and A&M, where they are today, is because they have oil money. They have had a lot of funding outside of the funding formula to build their enterprise. Can the University of Houston get a stable source of funding? Whether it's puff, it's not puff, it doesn't matter. The money is the money, right? If we can get a stable source of funding from the legislature, I guarantee you that we can build this university to the level where it would rank among the top 50. Without that help, I don't think we can get there. So right now, our focus is going to be that we continue moving forward toward the strategic goals, but at the same time, it will be a huge, huge challenge for us and for our entire community, our alumni, our donors, our board, and all of us, in whatever way we can help to convince the legislature that we do need that extra support, because that will keep it for the future. It's not just hustling today. It will stay, university will stay strong even after we are gone from here, and that's what we would like to see. So let me just stop here, but you know, as I've been sort of saying it in between, that regardless of what our goal is, which one it is, the biggest asset for the university are the people. If we believe in it, we can achieve it. If we work hard at it, we can achieve it. We have to be smarter. We don't have to necessarily work twice as hard, but we have to be twice as smart as anybody else. And we know we have that ability. We can do it. We have been showing it. So once again, thank you all for inviting me. And I think in question and answers, we probably will get into more deeper questions that you all have raised, and I look forward to some of those dialogues as well. So thank you.
Thank you, President Khator. And now it is time for our Q&A series. So in addition to President Khator, we have a few of our subject matter experts that are here to address some of those more granular, in the weeds questions on policies and procedures. So welcome to Raymond Bartlett, Senior Vice Chancellor and Vice President of Administration and Finance, as well as Gaston Reinoso, Associate Vice Chancellor and Vice President of Human Resources. So leadership team, I will kind of throw some of these questions out there and let kind of you decide how, who wants to jump in to answer. In preparing for this staff council event, staff council did elicit questions and ask staff for their questions or to raise their concerns. So I've got a couple of those that have been picked for the group today. And the first one is actually on the strategic plan, Together We Rise, Together We Soar. Are there areas or initiatives within the goals where staff are a focused or a well-defined role, such as opportunities for development and support for continuing education?
Let me just give the 50,000 foot view, because that's all I can do. But then I think Raymond probably and Gaston may have been involved more in the more exclusive, those committees can tell you a little bit more. But on the question of whether there is a role for staff, absolutely. I mean, how else and who else will do it? The second question, that emerges from me here is, will there be opportunities for growth and development and training and promotions and movement forward? Absolutely, it has to be. The only way it can be done is with the talent. And with this strategic plan or without this strategic plan, one of the most important obligation is an organization, a fast-moving organization has, is to make sure their people achieve their maximum potential. If you are working at 80% of your potential, obviously, who's hurting? It's the institution that is hurting. So it's in our vested interest to make sure that there are enough opportunities and programs for development, for interaction, for exposure, for learning, and for growth. So I know we have a whole lot of those. I'm sure there are some being planned as we are looking, 5 committees are looking into these different goals. And I'm just going to toss it now to Raymond or Gaston, whoever is involved in those committees, to be able to answer more, because I don't have the reports from the committees yet.
Thank you, President Khator. Yeah, and I think it goes without saying that staff development is a high priority of the institution, and all throughout the strategic plan. It involves all of us at the University of Houston to achieve the strategic plan. With respect to the things that we do within human resources to attract and retain the best qualified people at the University of Houston, we are absolutely committed to professional development. That's how, as the president has said, this is how this university will continue to move forward and to succeed and to achieve its goals. Gaston can, of course, speak to very specific trainings that we have available. One thing I would say to staff is it is absolutely paramount that each and every one of us take our career development into our own hands and take it as a personal responsibility, working with your supervisor, your manager, talking about what your opportunities are for the future. What are your visions? What are your goals? And how can you grow to achieve those goals here at the University of Houston? We do have plenty of training opportunities to expand the skill set of our employees. And I'll turn it over to Gaston if you'd like to add anything more in terms of very specific types of trainings. But again, what I would say to you is we're all in this together.
Yes, well said. And one thing that you just mentioned that is very important is that, we all as employees, that we identify what are those tools or things that we need to improve and to move forward. It's our responsibility to take a look at where we want to be in the future, and therefore, what are those things that we need. We offer in human resources several trainings in terms of leadership, organizational skills. All throughout the year, we have different series of trainings that we offer, and many of you I know have participated and continue to do so. There's also other speakers or events that we have that while it's not a training, it educates you on things that are going to help you, let's say for your retirement or for your personal savings and so on. We got to pay more and more attention as to what we do with our future. And that not only includes our career, but also looking at the day that we want to retire. We have a lot of programs, for example, that can help you save for the future that I'd like to see more staff participating. We had pretty good participation in December when we brought those speakers in, but I think that we have a great opportunity there to continue to educate folks as to how to better be prepared for the future, and for the retirement too. So we're here open to hear more ideas, and also we are here open to continue to offer the trainings that we currently offer.
And if I may add one other point to make sure we have full awareness, we, as an institution of higher education, we absolutely support our staff and their continued education here at the university. We put that commitment to work in the form of funding for staff scholarships. We make available, I believe it's $2,000 for a staff scholarship. If you're interested in learning more about that, I encourage you to reach out to Gaston or somebody in Human Resources and to take advantage of that opportunity that can further develop your professional development here at the university.
Good point. Yeah, that's very important too that we offer it.
Well, thanks to all of you for that feedback. The next question focuses on headcount. The strategic plan's goal of becoming a top 50 public university requires a backbone of talented, skilled, and innovative staff. Staff headcount is down, according to this question, 10% since April 2020. What are the university's plans to address recruitment and retention of staff? And I should mention, anytime you read in the newspaper, flip on the news, this is not unique to the University of Houston.
So let me start with that. Yeah, I think the talent acquisition and retention is something that's just everywhere. You all know, I don't know if you know or not, but anyway, I am on the board of the Greater Houston Partnership, and I can tell you, as we sit around and have the round table, there isn't a single sector in the city that says that we have no issue in hiring of people. Almost everybody is struggling with the fewer applications, with the lower quality, because after all, if 6 million people in the United States have left the workforce and they've just decided to right now sit at home for whatever reason. I mean, I think one of the main reasons is there's a lot of federal stimulus funding, and sometimes people just decided that that's had enough because of anxiety and stress level. And therefore, the shortage of talent all across has to happen. You can look at every sector. Then I'm on so many forums with other presidential colleagues, whether it's with Big 12, whether it's with NCAA, whether it's with ACE, or whether it's, AGB, or you name it. This is an absolute across the way. This is a complaint. People are saying we can't find good people. So first of all, I want you to know there's nothing you are doing wrong in your units to really scare people away or not to be able to hire people. It's just the market is very unstable right now. People say it's going to be 6 to 12 months before we can find out. And maybe Raymond or Gaston can point out that, we do have probably a lot of positions. I don't know whether this, first of all, whether 10% mark is true or not, but I just assume you must be working in that office. So you probably have it right, whoever is asking questions. So let's assume it's right. I just don't know how much of it is because the positions have been cut down or how much it is because positions are vacant and we are not able to fill. Of course, there's some position may have been retrenched just because we had the budget cut, but this year we funded a lot of new staff positions in several of the units. So my hope is always that we can attract the best people, we can keep our best people, that we can give them opportunities to grow. But right now, whatever is happening, a whole lot has to do with the overall market, and not just in higher education, all across in every single sector. So just be a little more patient and see where market settles in, hopefully in 6 months to 12 months, depending on where coronavirus goes. So if you have anything to add, Raymond or Gaston.
Thank you, President Khator. And I think that, look, there is no one silver, there's no one answer to this issue. We recognize that we have a spike in the number of positions that we are trying to fill, and Human Resources is working very hard with the hiring managers. We have seen the elongation of the time to fill positions. We've seen the number of qualified applicants decrease. We understand that these are challenging times, but we are committed, just as we've been over the last 2 years, we are committed to work through these issues. Many of them are external, some of them are internal that we are working through and developing opportunities for to help address some of the vacancy issues. But again, while we always have normal turnover, we're just seeing it at an elevated level right now. And there are some external forces that we cannot control that will continue to plague our ability to quickly fill positions. So, Gaston, let me turn it to you if you have anything more specific you'd like to address.
Yes, and you're absolutely right with the issue that we have, and that is also calling us to, as recruiters, all of us are recruiters at some point, for your departments, that we changed a little bit our ways as to how we recruit, because we have now more of a sense of urgency in attending this process and jumping on as quickly as we can. So whereas before you could be waiting to have, hey, once I have 10 candidates, I'm going to look at this pool. Now, once you get the pool from us, to jump on it right away because of the shortage, because of the unusual times that we're living. And that forces us to be a lot more reactive once we have those candidates in hand. So that's something that all of us, it's not just HR or just you and your manager changing, it's collectively, we all have to have a different sense of urgency on this. We're using a couple of different tools now to try to attract more people, SIP Recruiter, LinkedIn, Handshake, a couple of different platforms to try to attract more people, but also search committees have to become, agents selling the university as well. So don't forget to be arrogant about the benefits that we offer, the good things that the university has to offer, which sometimes we don't remember those things because they're already with us. But for a lot of people that are working in other industries, those things are great value, and we have to think of that too. So that's something for all of us to, think about moving forward. Right? And it's going to be a little bit bumpy in 22, I believe. It will continue, will not adjust quickly.
Yeah,
I've been in Houston for such a long time now. Actually, tomorrow I'll finish my 14 years, and day after I start my 15th year. But it's amazing restaurants I go to and how managers will just come and say, we're really struggling. Can you send us some managers here? They just need so much, and I've never had that in all of these many years. I've never had, when I'm eating in restaurant, that people will come and say, we really need such and such person. Can you please help us find people? So just that tells you the extent of shortage we have, even in areas where there were so many layoffs before.
True.
So I want to address two sort of major issues that I'm seeing both in the chat and in the questions that we received from staff. So staff that are on this call, we are getting to these questions. we want to get to the flexible workplace initiative, and then following that, let's go with compensation and pay structures. But we'll start with the map on the flexible workplace initiative. How do we see this moving forward, if at all? What is sort of the thought on remote work, as well as, obviously we have an obligation to our students. So who would like to address that?
Of course, I'll go first. I think that's important. So yes, last 2 years have been such an upheaval anyway. We have had to rely so much on supervisors to create a flexible workplace in order to just reduce density. So what we didn't have, is not that much of consequence. We could have had it, we didn't have it, but we do want to take some. So I've looked at it too, because I know you all are very much interested in it. And it's very interesting as I'm looking through it. We have almost all of the pieces of flexible workplace, and we either have a policy or we have some arrangement, some type of thing, including even the remote work, because I know even before the COVID, there were people who were working, who had arrangement to work remotely. And it's probably the only difference that I see is we just don't have a formal policy yet. And that way, at least you know how to do it, where to go. So our intention is take a policy in February's board meeting, which will be sometime in third week of February. And meanwhile, just to do our due diligence and for have some boards, fiduciary responsibility that board has to make sure that we do our due diligence to present, from wherever the institutions have, what has worked for them, what they've learned, what we need to do. So we just do it right. So I understand. I mean, we have compressed work schedules, and maybe Raymond and Gaston can tell all the different elements that we have had. And I think it's just putting it all together, making it formal, making it easily accessible for you. I think that's going to be an important. We'll just take it to the board, and we'll make our policy based on what we are looking at in other places. So anything to add, Raymond or Gaston?
The only thing I would add is that I think it's a little unfair to categorize us as not being a flexible place to work. I think depending on one's definition of flexibility will kind of dictate how one may characterize it. We do have many elements of flexibility within the workplace. Some are formalized in policy and some are more informal. And as the president has said, I think what we're focusing on is trying to capture all of those and codify them in some policy in the next month or month and a half. So we do, and I know that it varies by sometimes job, it varies by manager working with their employees in terms of what degree of flexibility there is or isn't within their workplace. But our goal here is to make sure that we have it all in one place so that it is fully understood, and we can make sure that we're communicating and training managers to understand what the policy is.
Because, one of the things is with a lot of things, supervisors have a very different role to play. It will become so much on supervisors. So it's important to make sure that there's a training, there's proper things about inclusion, that, nobody feels that they got discriminated against, and that there has to be proper toolkit. So it gives us enough time while it's still we are sort of in a flexible way where managers are anyway, supervisors are managing their density of their workplace. But we take it in February, keeping in mind, of course, always what kind of an enterprise we are. Our value, our core mission are our students, and our value is an immersive learning environment. We are not an online institution, right? So we just, every unit will have to figure it out, their role, how much of the student facing, faculty facing unit they are, and which means the supervisors end up having a lot of responsibilities. And I know if we didn't do it right, a few months from now, you're going to come back complaining about it. My supervisor isn't treating me fairly. So, you know, we have to think about that. There are some units that lend themselves much more easily than other units that will lend themselves. But as I said, we have to keep up with the competitive nature of it. But don't think that not having the flexible or whatever your definition maybe is the reason why we cannot keep the talent here. Because I know so many people who are working remotely, and in 1 year they have changed 3 jobs. Because if you are not embedded in campus, you know, the building of the culture becomes important. You know, it becomes a critical issue. How do you get somebody to own the culture and the organization? So we have, so with your help, with everybody's help, with you know, doing it in a thoughtful way, we'll have all of those elements sorted it out, and we see, we'll take something to the board on. I believe I'm just not looking at it. The meeting is on February the 24th. So any thoughts, any things you have till that time, give them to Raymond, give them to Gaston. But I just also want to tell you, Gaston has been forward-looking, and it's not because he hasn't been promoting what it is, but it's just the 2 years have been very different kind of years anyway. People have taken short-term approaches, long-term approaches, some approaches where, you know, they said they'll evaluate at the end of the coronavirus. So no matter what we do, we just have to stay very flexible, and we have to just make sure that, and you know, we can keep you functional and productive and the institution productive. Because if we can't do that, and if we can't show our accountability, then I think we are losing the purpose for which we are here, which is to provide our students a very immersive learning environment, not just to leave them, because that's what they are telling us. That's what they value about the university.
Thank you. And I promised we would get to this question at the risk of, we're really tight on time, but I do want to ask it related to staff pay structures, and or if there is any sort of staff compensation study underway. Who would like to address kind of where we are with that effort?
I think Raymond and I have recently talked about it, so Raymond can brief it up, but we understand, we know. I also know that there are some job sectors, descriptions where we are out of whack by a lot, maybe 10%, 12%. And then there are some jobs where we are at par. And then there are some jobs where we are higher than actually where the market is. But I think Raymond brought up the suggestion, we need to do a formal study, which we should, but we shouldn't wait till that time. We'll try to see the areas where there's a more compression as to how is it that we can take care of them quickly.
Right. We have, we will be engaging a consultant to assist us, but that process of procuring and contracting with a consultant could take easily 120 days. Well, I don't want the next 120 days to sit idly by and go idly by. So in those next 120 days, we will continue to analyze the information that we have, looking primarily at the largest job families where we've got the largest headcount, and trying to mark that to market and come up with some assessment as to how to adjust relative to market. Our plan is to have a consultant on board in about 120 days, and we will ask that consultant to do many things, including kind of reassessing what we have done in the first 120 days. But we are not going to sit idle and do nothing. We recognize that we need to have a competitive market-based compensation structure. That's critical to retaining and recruiting the top talent that this institution deserves and needs in order to be successful. And so we're committed to moving forward with this.
Well, I want to thank each of you for your insights and your transparency and your willingness to take on all of these questions today. We do, on behalf of staff and of Staff Council, thank you. And now we're going to move on to the next portion of our program. It is my pleasure to introduce you to Staff Council President DaNesha Allen. DaNesha currently serves as the Executive Administrative Assistant for the Associate Vice Chancellor, Associate VP for the Office of Administration. She graduated from UH in 2011, go Cougs, after receiving her Bachelor of Science in Psychology and minor in Sociology. And she will be serving as Staff Council President until August. So welcome, DaNesha. Thank you for your service to the university and for representing all of us staff members.
Thanks, Shawn. Good afternoon, UH staff community. It is an honor to address staff today and share an overview of Staff Council achievements for 2022 and provide a look ahead for this semester. I am compelled to acknowledge that we have faced challenging times amidst the changing environment and the invisible enemy COVID-19. However, staff continue to show up, support, and have an impact on campus and student success. With your support, we have accomplished numerous of initiatives this year. Staff Council has focused on continued partnerships with the senior leadership and across campus. These value partnerships have facilitated discussions that resulted in additional progress and achievements for staff. Thank you to the university's leadership for approving the minimum wage increase and merit for FY 21-22. Staff Council is dedicated to transforming staff's experience on campus to increase staff morale and contributions to student success. The Staff Council, executive leadership, and general body have been tremendously supportive and proactive in launching new initiatives and supporting past traditions for staff. With the return to in-person at the start of the fall 2021 semester, we were able to have a resemblance of what we knew as normal. Thanks to everyone that has contributed, supported, or participated. This year, Staff Council has continued to refine our vision and strategic plan to ensure it not only aligns with the universities, but it is one that will continue to uplift staff and place UH among top places to work. I am confident that with continued support from staff, we will reach new levels of achievement. Now, I would like to share with you some of Staff Council's highlights for FY 2021-22. In collaboration with the President's Office and the Women Gender Resource Center, Staff Council awarded $15,500 in scholarships to 15 staff and 1 student for the 2021-2022 academic year. In August 2021, we returned to campus and to hosting Cougar First Impressions in person, back like we never left. This year's virtual and in-person CFI event connected students to resources available at the University of Houston and its instructional sites in Sugar Land and Katy, with welcome tents and live chat rooms in Microsoft Teams. The live chat rooms were led by volunteers who were available to address common areas of student concern and respond to live student inquiries. Volunteers at CFI's welcome tents offered Cougs a safe welcome to campus and answered more than 7,500 student inquiries, provided students with 6,400 bottles of cold water, served 3,000 frozen treats, and used 2,500 pounds of ice and distributed over 8,500 donated items, including notepads, pens, sunglasses, and maps. Staff Council has also continued building partnerships with the greater UH community and Third Ward area. In October 2021, Staff Council supported the Third Ward initiative and the community cleanup. There were 30 UH volunteers consisting of students, faculty, and staff cleaned up various sites Board, including Jack Yates High School, Shape Community Center, Blackshear Elementary, and Trinity East United Methodist Church. Additionally, Staff Council raised over $1,000 to provide 60 Thanksgiving meals to the residents at the William A. Lawson Institute for Peace and Prosperity, Wallop Senior Residence, located in 3rd Ward. Thank you to all who contributed. Additionally, Staff Council donated trees to the Wallop Senior Residence in December 2021 to help kick off the holiday season. This year's Staff Council Sock and Blanket Drive benefited the Star of Hope mission with 35 50-gallon bags of new and cleaned, gently used items, which were dropped off at various no-contact locations from November 1st through December 16th. With uncertainty around COVID-19 still looming, Staff Council worked to boost staff morale and host campus traditions like the Homecoming Spirit Bell Challenge and the Welcome Back Tailgate in partnership with ANF and Human Resources. Congratulations to the 2021 Homecoming Spirit Bell winner, Enrollment Services Communication and Marketing. And thank you to all the Spirit Bell participants and volunteers. Staff Council strives to provide UH staff with valuable resources, including promoting staff-focused programming. Last fall, we collaborated with Human Resources to host the Financial Wellness Supplemental Retirement Options for UH Staff webinar. And I am excited to announce that over 100 UH staff joined to hear from investment consultant firms and learn about the 457B and 403B programs offered by the University of Houston to benefits eligible employees. In November 2021, Staff Council executive leadership and 2 Staff Council representatives attended the university system-wide Staff Executive Committee meeting at University of Houston, Victoria. During the USEC meeting, Staff Council executive leadership had the opportunity to consult with Staff Council leadership at the system campuses to discuss key issues affecting staff. University Staff Council General Assembly meetings are open to all staff. We welcome special guests from across campus at the beginning of each meeting. By continuing to host our monthly meetings virtually, we have maintained participation of 80+ staff, including our members. Special guests this fiscal year include Human Resources, ANF, Las Comadres, College Mentoring Program, the Office of Sustainability, Cougar Rhetoric, Cougar Card Office, Research Data Management, and more. Every month, Staff Council releases its Staff Connect newsletter, full of relevant content that interests and affects staff. Our newsletter reaches 2,800 staff each year. Inside it, you'll find monthly meeting invitations, staff highlights, staff recognition, and staff news featuring upcoming events and campus-wide communications. Staff Council's January 2022 Workplace Conversations honors the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial. This workplace conversation will be led by Harry E. Johnson and will share the idea and fruition of the MLK Jr. Memorial at the National Mall from land acquisition to the 10th anniversary celebration. Next, save the date for a special event hosted by our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. This signature workplace conversation event recognizes women in leadership at UH. And please remain vigilant as Staff Council has various opportunities for staff to engage and volunteer on campus and in the community. We look forward to seeing you at our next Staff Council General Assembly. As always, remember, Staff Council stands for you. Back to you, Shawn.
Thank you, DaNesha. What an incredible list of accomplishments, and thank you to every staff member out there who helped make that happen. Really great work across the board. We are coming near the end, but we're not quite there yet, so hang on because there is even a raffle coming up. But before we get there, I do want to thank our respective guests, President Khator, Raymond Bartlett, Gaston Reinoso, and DaNesha. Thank you to you. And for all of our staff members out there, if you have additional questions, Staff Council would like you to reach out to them. And you can do that by emailing staffcouncil@uh.edu. So we hope that you have a fantastic rest of your day, but do stay tuned. As I mentioned, we have an upcoming raffle, and for that portion, I'm going to hand it over to Brisa Gossett to announce the raffle winners and how to claim your prizes. Brisa.
Thank you very much, Shawn. And thank you all the staff who have joined us today. Staff who registered and participated in today's Staff Focus event were eligible to win a raffle prize. 15 University of Houston staff have been selected at random from a registration list. Winners will each receive $25 in Shasta bucks. If you are a winner, please complete the Staff Focus Raffle winner confirmation form by visiting bit.ly Staff Focus Winner. For your convenience, there's also a QR code in the slide that will direct you to the form. Feel free to contact me, Brisa Gossett, at bgossett@uh.edu if you have any questions. I am pleased to announce the winners of today's Staff Focus event raffle. In order of random draw, Bernice Hernandez Becerra, Jeanette Davis, Kathy Dominguez, Stacy Haley, Momita Mukherjee, Adrian Rowland, Leroy Mays, Whitney Johnson, Candace Ansaldua, Ngozi Owama, Deborah Beard, Latasha Stoker, Jorge Martinez, Rafael Valdez, and Lori Perkle. Congratulations to all of our Staff Focus raffle winners. Thank you. I believe this concludes our event. Shawn?
Absolutely. That concludes the program. Congratulations to the winners, and thanks for all of you who have been with us for the past hour. Some great information, and we encourage you to join us at the next Staff Focus event. Have a great day. Go Cougs.